Good evening, classmates. My name is Latandra Frazier, and I am giving my feedback on Dr. Ebel's lecture. Now, the topic was, is discrimination a thing of the past? It's definitely not. I think discrimination still exists, and it was interesting to learn that the the modern day discrimination is called interpersonal discrimination. I didn't know that, so thank you for that. What I've learned and what I've experienced with this type of discrimination is it's almost like people judging a book by its cover, not allowing themselves to actually get to know the individual and just really sizing them up based on their appearance. Whether they, come off as, like she said, gay, or they come off, as, a different background, if they were Muslims and they wear their little turban, or even if you're African American, we all have experienced discrimination where you walk into a store and the person in front of you might have been might be Caucasian, and they're greeted very friendly, very friendly, and they feel like they want to be involved with that person, versus the regular norm of good morning or good afternoon, whatever, which is per the job that they're required to do. What I loved about her whole lecture was the fact that she did studies, and she sent out, the same individuals with different types of, stereotypes, just to see how they would be treated. What I wish she could have done also was included something dealing with like people's name, maybe if they had a name badge on, and see if people that had odd or unique names, or ethnic names, or African names, or even Hispanic names, or anything that's considered like a minority, and see if they would be treated differently based on their names. Because I think the interpersonal discrimination probably would come across the same, but I'm not 100% sure. But I would have loved to see something like that being tested as well. I think what I am taking from her lecture is the fact that I want to be someone that introduces change. I'm the type of person that I want people to learn. I want people to know. I want people to understand that it's okay to be different, especially in the workplace, as long as the job gets done. Nobody is perfect. We all do things in different manners, but as long as we come to the same conclusion, and it's within the, the company guidelines or everything, it's okay. But from my experience so far, that's still been kind of a struggle. It's like, it could be the organization. It could be the organization. Some organizations are still back in the day, this is the way we did it for 50 years, and, this is how it's going to be done, or this is how they would like for it to be done. But with companies not changing to modern day technologies, or modern day, just what the modern day norm is, it makes the work environment, tense, and it affects the morale of the individuals. It affects the morale of the employees. So being able to have an open dialogue where people can talk about the differences, and if they have any questions. I think what I've learned with discrimination, not just the interpersonal discrimination, but discrimination period, is they do not know. They're afraid to ask. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's get it off, and be respectful. I mean, it's different things about different ethnicities that I'm curious about. I don't just like doing things that black people would like to do, or eating things that black people like to eat. I am a very open, or I try to be a very open-minded person, and I'm okay with change. Like, I like change. I feel like, everybody gets complacent, and they get complacent, and they're afraid of change. And as Dr. Hebert was saying, I want to be that person that invites the change or spearheads the change when it comes to interpersonal discrimination. I don't like it. It's almost like bullying, like like a form of bullying. Like, it's okay for, as long as I see the kind of person that I like, or I see this person that might be, somebody that I'll deal with, I give them a better chance. It could be anything. It could be you give them, more customer service related things, or you give them more information. A lot of it is about information. I've seen where people hoard information because of the discrimination behind them being like the interpersonal discrimination. I would give all the information to someone, no matter what they race were, no matter if they were gay or whatever the case may be, whatever it is. I would, if I had the information and they needed it or they requested it, it didn't matter. I would still be able to give them, the resources, or at least guide them to the resources that they need. But with that being said, I've experienced, and I kind of did my own little survey of my, not survey, but I did my own little, what do you call it? Sort of like a little project. When this was several years ago, I was trying to find an apartment, and it was really hard for me to get one. So I have a friend that's Caucasian, and her name is Stacy. Hi, Stacy. She would, she offered to call. I said, why? I just said, why would you call? They're going to give you the same thing that they told me. And she was like, well, sometimes, if you sound a certain way, that's interpersonal discrimination, how someone sounds versus how they look. You're summing someone up based on what you think they are. And in this instance, I called an apartment complex. I'm not going to name the name, but I called an apartment complex. Like I said, I sound like a black female. I have a deep voice, I don't know. I don't really understand what black people and white people sound like. But with that being said, evidently I sound like a black person. So she gave me the information. She gave me just enough information. And what she ended the call saying was that there was a waiting list. You had to have a certain income, base income. You had to make 3 times your salary. I'm like, 3 times your salary? I wouldn't need this apartment if it was like that. So when my friend called, which again, she's Caucasian, the lady gave her a totally different answer. And I was so upset. I was more disappointed because I'm like, really? They still do this in the 2000s? Like, I didn't get it. What was the difference between me and what was the difference between her? So it's the voice. So you hearing someone is still, I guess, interpersonal discrimination, which happens all the time. I try not to, I don't think about that, and I try to focus on things that I can control. I can control that. I can't control people not liking the way I sound. I can't control how people not liking the way I look. I can't control that. Now, what I can control is if I give you a reason not to. If I give you a reason not to like me, or I give you a reason not to want to help me, that's one thing. But her video really was very, like I said, informational. And as far as how I would relate it to my workplace, I would relate it to my workplace because I would pay attention to how I'm responding to people. Definitely have some people that I won't say I don't like, but I just feed them, as my parents would say, a long-handled fork. I can deal with people. I know how to maneuver around people, and that's what I try to do to make sure any kind of, the work environment, especially because that's where I spend the most time, is peaceful. Even if I have to be the bigger person, I still try my best to maneuver where the interpersonal part is not shown on my face or my body language, because again, it tells everything. Your face tells everything, your eyebrows tell everything, your lips, your tone, any of that stuff. You can pick it up in a second. You can feel the energy if it's not good in a work environment. So those interpersonal identifying within myself, like interpersonal discrimination, meaning that if I really don't like someone and or I'm really not getting along with someone at the time or whatever, try my best as the individual to just make it not so obvious, I guess. But I think that's about it, guys. I hope I answered all your questions, Dr. Casey. If not, I hope I at least got a B. All right, everybody. Good night.